Welcome to the Service Awards celebration. I'm Julie Neuter. Welcome, everyone. This is the annual Service Award ceremony. So we're here to honor the employees who have dedicated their careers to advancing Argonne's mission. That's all of you. It's great to welcome all of our honorees. And I also want to welcome our leadership who have joined us today, including our laboratory director, Paul Kearns, and associate laboratory directors, senior directors, and division directors from across the lab. And in addition to honoring our award honorees today, I just want to say thank you on behalf of all of the leadership for your contributions and your commitment to Argonne. With that, I am really thrilled that we're together today having lunch together. It has been too many years where we haven't had the chance to come together and celebrate together. So I'm hoping you're as happy as I am that we were able to bring you all together. And for those who are joining us online, the fact that we can do this in a hybrid manner, and I'm sorry you're not getting lunch as a result of this, but you get to celebrate with everybody who's here. And so with that, I want to introduce our laboratory director, Paul Kearns.
Thank you, Julie. It is great to be here and certainly see all of you in person. Really fantastic. I really appreciated the energy in the room when I walked in and got to say hello to several people I haven't seen in some time in person. So really fantastic to see everyone. Give a shout out to Julie and her team and also the folks from communications that really helped organize the day as well. Really congratulations for what's going to be a fantastic event. I will say, as the director of Argonne, I'm particularly thankful for opportunities to honor and acknowledge our colleagues. Certainly we'll be celebrating today those of you who have spent the past 20 to 60 years really building Argonne into a world-class, multidisciplinary scientific institutions. We owe you our greatest thanks, and this is when I ask for the first round of applause, really, and to acknowledge everybody's contributions. So really jump right in. It is intended to be a celebration, so anytime you'd like to break out in spontaneous applause, it's certainly welcome. Really feel free to do that. I also want to extend our appreciation to your family, your spouses, and your children. I know their support has made your amazing commitment to Argonne possible. We're about to recognize your service, your leadership not only in scientific innovation and operational excellence, but also in developing our workforce of the future. Your mentorship and guidance of younger colleagues empowers the lab to continue its safe operations, unlock new scientific frontiers, and push the boundaries of current technology. Simply put, you're building a lasting legacy for the laboratory. You're instrumental to the growth of the next generation of scientists, engineers, and laboratory operations experts. I'm pleased to say that your impact extends far beyond our lab fences due to your hard work over the past decades. Argonne is accelerating the science and technology that drives U.S. prosperity and security. We're helping the world address some of its most pressing challenges. And all of you really have helped us do that. We just couldn't do it without you. On behalf of the laboratory and everyone here at Argonne, I want to thank you again for your service and to congratulate you on your many achievements. Now I'll turn things over to our presenter, Harold Townsend, for the recognition of our honorees. Harold, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Paul and Julie, and good afternoon to everyone. I'm Harold Townsend, and on behalf of Human Resource Services, I'm pleased to be here to recognize so many dedicated employees. The laboratory has undergone significant visible changes in recent years, including the construction of new buildings, such as the Long Beamline building, the Materials Engineering Research Facility expansion, and the renovation of many other spaces. The laboratory is also in the middle of many other exciting changes, with plans to host the exascale supercomputer Aurora and enter the last step of the Advanced Photon Source upgrade. Our honorees today have witnessed a lot over the years. Many were here before the construction of the Theory and Computing Science building, and some of our most senior honorees today were here before other facilities. The lab has truly benefited from your service as we tackle the most compelling scientific questions, and for that, the laboratory thanks you. The fact that we can only recognize our employees in 5-year service increments speaks volumes about the passion and dedication of the Argonne community. Even with this strategy, we still have 160 staff members to celebrate today, totaling exactly 4,875 years of service. This is a time to pay respect to our history, but also a time to have fun. One of the best parts of preparing for this ceremony was the chance to interview honorees and do a little research so we can present you with some fun facts about what was going on at the time when you joined the laboratory, and more importantly, share some great memories about life here. For example, we've heard stories year over year about the Quonset huts, various run-ins with wildlife, and parties for end of run at the Zero Gradient Synchrotron, which we'll hear more from Clarence about later. For example, over the years, our interviewees have talked about the way that technology has changed their life at the laboratory. And perhaps many of you can remember the blood, sweat, and tears that went into creating and maintaining a box of punch cards, or reaching for a printed copy of the table of functions. Our interviewees also talk about how much they love Argonne because of the people here, because of the opportunities that they have had to do a new and exciting work without leaving campus. The number one thing we hear by far when interviewing service honorees is that I thought I'd only be here for a year or two, perhaps a few years before I move on. Without further ado, let's get started with recognition of our honorees. This recognition will include introductions from myself, as well as a series of videos produced by our colleagues in Communications and Public Affairs. First, let's start by recognizing our colleagues who began at the laboratory in the 1990s and 2000s. 38 of our honorees started at the lab in the year 2002 and are celebrating 20 years of service. In 2002, Herman Grunder was laboratory director, and President George W. Bush visited Argonne to promote research for national security. A couple of months later, he signed into law the creation of the United States Department of Homeland Security, which is now one of our sponsors. Argonne also dedicated the Advanced Powertrain Research Facility, which helped test hybrid and electric vehicles. EVs are now much more common on our roadways today, and it's due to our research. Across the world, the war on terror escalated with Operation Anaconda in Afghanistan and congressional authorization for the war in Iraq. The Winter Olympics were held in Salt Lake City, Utah, where the United States won 10 gold, 13 silver, and 11 bronze medals. And reality TV became more popular with the launch of American Idol and Bachelor. Congratulations to our 20-year service honorees. 23 of our honorees started the laboratory in 1997 and are celebrating 25 years of service. In 1997, Dean Eastman was laboratory director and Bill Clinton was president. What is ubiquitous now was brand new back then. And at the lab, we were offering training for local teachers on how to use the internet in classrooms. We also gave students the opportunity to email researchers at the North Pole for the first time. Can you imagine being excited about sending an email? DOE recognized Argonne Supercomputing Center as one of the nation's 4 high-end parallel computer resource providers, and computer science continues to this day at the ALCF. Beyond laboratory fences, Madeleine Albright became the first female United States Secretary of State, and Netflix began as a DVD mail rental service. And Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone was first published. Congratulations to our 25-year service honorees. "51 of our honorees started at the laboratory in 1992 and are celebrating 30 years of service. In 1992, Ellen Schriesheim was laboratory director and George H.W. Bush was president of the United States. Argonne physicists built the this is a tough one for me, calorimeter, thank you, for the Zeus Collider experiment at the Hadron Electric Ring Accelerator in Germany. The lab created the Structural Biology Center to provide advanced instrumentation for crystallographic research, and we developed a computer program to calculate health risks to the transportation of spent nuclear fuel. Globally, the United Nations established its Framework Convention on Climate Change, which oversaw the Kyoto Protocol, the Paris Agreement, and most recently COP26 in the UK and COP27 in Egypt. The Great Chicago Flood of 1992 caused about $2 billion worth of damage at the time. Congratulations to our 30-year service honorees. Keep clapping. Congratulations to all of our 20, 25, and 30-year honorees. Next, we'll recognize our colleagues who began at the laboratory in the 1970s and 1980s. 23 honorees started at the laboratory in 1987 and are celebrating 35 years of service. In 1987, Alan Schriesheim was laboratory director and Ronald Reagan was president. In Argonne News, we were the first to successfully demonstrate a pioneering technique called plasma wake field acceleration, which accelerates particles in much shorter distances than conventional particle accelerators. Our physicists also led the fabrication of the central EM calorimeter. Outside the laboratory, President Reagan delivered his famous Tear Down This Wall speech in Berlin, and Harold Washington, Chicago's first African-American mayor, was reelected. The Simpsons cartoon first appeared as a series of shorts on The Tracy Ullman Show. Congratulations to our 35-year honorees. Nine honorees began at the laboratory in 1982 and are celebrating 40 years of service. In 1982, Walter Massey was laboratory director and Ronald Reagan was president of the United States. At Argonne West, the experimental breeder reactor 2 was modified to test the integral fast reactor concept, a revolutionary design that reprocessed its own fuel, reduced its atomic waste, and withstood safety tests of the same failures of Chernobyl and 3 Mile Island. During the same time, the lab's mandate was beginning to expand into non-nuclear research areas, including advanced battery, magnetohydrodynamics, solar energy collectors, and heavy ion fusion. The Vietnam Veterans Memorial in Washington, D.C. was dedicated. Epcot opened at Disney World, serving as a permanent World's Fair that showcases high-tech innovations and international cultures. Michael Jackson released Thriller, the biggest-selling album of all time, and E.T. the Extraterrestrial became an instant blockbuster. Congratulations again to our 40-year honorees. Twelve honorees started working here in 1977 and are celebrating 45 years of service. In 1977, Robert Sachs was laboratory director and Jimmy Carter was president. This year was significant for the supervision of Argonne. The United States Department of Energy was established, and the lab fell under its new purview. We reached a pinnacle of 5,100 employees. We also developed the first automated system for continuous growth of human cells and the first large superconducting magnet. The world's first personal computer, the Commodore PET, was demonstrated at the Chicago Consumer Electronics Show, and Apple Computer was incorporated. Star Wars, now known as Episode 4, A New Hope, opened in cinemas, and Saturday Night Fever exemplified the age of disco. Congratulations to our 45-year service honorees. Congratulations again to our 35, 40, and 45-year honorees. Now we'd like to make special mention of those celebrating the most significant service milestones this year. Congratulations to one of our Argonne colleagues who began here 50 years ago in 1972. At the time, the director was Robert Duffield. And to set the stage, the area around Argonne was much more rural at the time. For a long time, there was really no population until 63rd Street, and what is today the busy intersection of Interstate 55 and Route 53 consisted of only 2 gas stations and a restaurant. In interviews, service honorees have told us that the popular off-campus lunch spot was the Royal Shield, which was located on the side of what is today Bona Beef at 75th Street and Cass Avenue. Or if you chose to stay on site, you could go to the cafeteria and get 2 hot dogs, a French fry, and a Coke and have change back from a dollar bill. Half a century ago, Richard Nixon was president. The space shuttle was approved for development. It went on to be NASA's partially reusable low orbital spacecraft system from 1981 to 2011. And Title IX, which prohibited sex-based discrimination in schools, was signed into law. The EPA banned the use of the pesticide DDT, a decision that contributed to the comeback of the bald eagle from near extinction. In 1972, moviegoers saw What Happens When You Take Sides Against the Family and The Godfather. The Price is Right premiered on CBS. And Atari launched Pong, the first successful coin-operated video game. And Brenda Pruitt-Deal, Cell's administrative assistant, began her service of a remarkable 50 years at Argonne. Let's hear from Brenda now.
My name is Brenda Pruitt-Deal. They call me BJ. I've been at Argonne National Laboratory for 50 plus years. I had just finished business college, and my mom kept telling me, you know, you need to go out to Argonne National Laboratory. My first office at Argonne was in the Quonset huts, and I got hired in through the pool, and I started in ESP division. Oh my God, we used to have so much fun at Ripples down on 75th Street. Every Thursday, Friday evenings, We would go hang out and party. The people were just phenomenal. We used to have like lots of Christmas parties where we'd go, we'd hang out. We'd hang out at each other's homes, and everybody was just like a big family. That's basically why I've been here, is because I just love hanging out with the people at Argonne. My name is Brenda Pruitt-Dill, and I've been at Argonne National Laboratory for 50 plus years.
This year, one honoree started at the lab in 1967. He is celebrating an incredible 55 years of service at Argonne. In 1967, the laboratory director was Albert Crew. Lyndon B. Johnson was president. A chimpanzee named Washoe started to learn American Sign Language as the first non-human to do so, and Argonne scientists discovered radiation-induced voids in metals. Thurgood Marshall was confirmed as the first African-American justice of the United States Supreme Court, and the blizzard of '67 hit the Chicago area, dumping nearly 2 feet of snow over the course of 29 hours, making it the record local snowfall to this day. The first Super Bowl was simulcasted on CBS and NBC. The Green Bay Packers beat the Kansas City Chiefs 35-10, and McDonald's introduced the Big Mac. And Clarence Clark, senior technician for Photon Sciences, began an incredible 55 years of service at Argonne. Let's hear from Clarence now.
Name is Clarence Clark, senior technician. Been here 55 and a half years. Started in the old zero gradient synchrotron in 1967. Well, quite frankly, I had job offers that paid more, but I was a science fiction freak. That was the draw that brought me to Argonne. Things were a lot more loose back then than they are today. When a experimenter would finish his project or his run on the beamline, they'd throw a big party. That usually included a lot of beer, a lot of drinking, and a lot of fun. And the guys tended to gravitate to the particular scientist that threw the best parties when it came to making sure his beamline was up and running. I enjoyed my job. I mean, that's the only way I can explain it. You settle down, you get married, you have kids, you enjoy going to work every day. What more could you ask for? My name is Clarence Clark. I started in 1967 in June, so I've been here 55 and a half years.
Thank you, Clarence. This year we have one honoree who started at the laboratory in 1962, and he is celebrating a remarkable 60 years of service to our laboratory. In 1962, the laboratory director was again Albert Crew, and John F. Kennedy was president. John Glenn became the first American to orbit the Earth. And AT&T's Telstar, the world's first commercial communications satellite, was launched into orbit. The experimental breeder reactor 1 achieved chain reaction with plutonium at Argonne West. And our chemists produced the first compound of the inert noble gas xenon, opening up a new field of chemical bonding research. In 1962, the Cuban Missile Crisis brought the Cold War the closest it had come to full-scale nuclear war. The first Walmart store opened in Arkansas. And on television, the animated sitcom The Jetsons premiered. Canonically, George Jetson was born this year in 2022. The Music Man caused trouble with a capital T in theaters. And our final honoree, David Rink, senior technician for nuclear technology and national security, began at our laboratory. Thank you for your service, David. We thank all our honorees again for their service to the Argonne National Laboratory. Your dedicated service has laid the foundation for the next generation we'll build upon for the next 20, 35, and 50 years and beyond. I'll now hand it back to Julie Neuter, Chief Human Resources Officer and Senior Director of HRS, to conclude our program.
Nice job. Thank you, Harold. Well, one of the things I learned is Argonne likes to throw a party and likes to celebrate and has a long legacy of doing so. So thank you for sharing your stories. I think that is a strength of Argonne as a whole. So to close the program, I just want to add my appreciation and congratulations to all of our honorees. It's wonderful milestones you all have achieved. You've had a tremendous impact on Argonne. You have, through your dedication, really helped Argonne be an exceptional place to work and grow, and I'm going to add celebrate. You are the foundation for the next generation of outstanding scientists and administrators that really deliver on Argonne's mission. And over the years and decades, your contributions and your ability to deliver our mission means that we can solve these grand scientific problems. In closing, I want to say a special thanks to the team that helped pull this all together. They are doing that in service to all of you, and so proud of them and their teamwork. And to you, our honorees, thank you so much. But before you leave, there is going to be a photo taken out in the lobby, so please join our photographer in the lobby, and we'll get a picture taken of the group. And with that, enjoy your afternoon.